Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Today, we're going to continue on talking about how to communicate your sexual value. And this is important because on the previous episode, that was part one, we talked a little bit about scarcity and how that is important. And that scarcity would work as communicating your sexual value if you are already somebody that is fun around the house, somebody who's present around the house, and is somebody who's a sense of relief from a lot of boring things around the world, or at least some of the frustrations and stress and so on. So your value is communicated based off of you being somebody who's enjoyable to spend time around. You guys sometimes get really butthurt by the fact that you're not having sex, and I know you're justified to, but at the same time, it can do more harm than good. So every time you get rejected and then you lose your fucking mind, it actually takes you back 10 steps back from actually getting to the goal where you have fulfilling sex that is continuous and that is good and frequent. So really, scarcity becomes a good way of communicating your value, because you already give value when you are within the household, and your household gets a lot of enjoyment being around you. So therefore, when you are scarce, then it actually shows your value within that relationship. So that's the first part that we talked about. And today I'm just going to dive in a little bit deeper into disqualifying yourself sexually. Now, this is very, very important when it comes to sex. Then again, when it comes to a bit of attraction, the whole encompassing thing of attraction has to feel like that you're not bothered by sex. And it's the reason why is because when women, generally girls from the age of about, I would say 11 to 12, they notice that people start treating them a little bit different. So the moment that they start developing breasts, and I'm saying people, I'm just saying boys around them, and even men around them will start treating them a bit different. And they start treating them differently because as animals, those are our cues for childbearing, that they're now ready for childbearing. And obviously from socialization, it's disgusting for a man to be with a 12-year-old, obviously. But I'm trying to say is that there's this moment that they recognize that men start treating them differently, because all of a sudden men are looking at them as people that can produce children. And that's how we could, at least how attraction is for us, man. So again, the boys around them start treating them a little bit different, and quickly they start catching on that they're being treated differently because that the guys would like to have sex. So in terms of bombardment, in terms of people showing sexual interest, they've had that experience for an extended period of time. They've got more experience getting sexual advances, and from various degrees. I mean, when they're 12 years old, there's probably no sexual advance whatsoever. By the time they get to 14, 15, when they've got boyfriends and so on, the sexual advances are a lot more. And then by the time they get into 18, 19, 20, then that's like, it goes really, really wild. And at that point, they actually understand what is actually going on. And therefore, by the time they get married and they've had loads and loads and loads of sexual interactions where these guys are showing sexual advances towards them. And again, most guys do it horribly. So they've got this reference experience of loads of horrible interactions sexually where people are coming towards them. So when you come around it, or at least when you're around it and you disqualify yourself sexually, it makes it want her to chase. Like, okay, all these other men that have been around me have always been chasing after me sexually, including you. So it becomes very valuable to be the one that says, I'm not really bothered about sex. Like, it isn't that great, or it's not that much of a big deal. And then all of a sudden, it's like this real shift where she goes. And again, a lot of it has to be coming from a place of abundance, because if you're trying to do it as a trick where you're like, okay, I'm gonna pretend like I don't really care about sex, so maybe she will sense that. So you have to genuinely go, you know what, it's not that much of a big deal, and it has to be not a big deal. And there's several episodes that I've talked about how to create that, but just because of time, we're going to just keep it to the bigger concept, which is that you have to disqualify yourself. And the examples that I've used sometimes is when my wife, sometimes she will do something that is sexual, I will be non-reactive. Or when she's getting dressed, I will not react or say anything, because some guys feel like they're obligated to say something sexual or say something interesting. I don't feel any obligation to do so. And that puts it in a frame where, okay, why is he not reacting sexually? I'm naked right now. I'm obviously, he's supposed to be doing something and he's not doing anything. And all of a sudden this puts it in a frame where she feels like she needs to chase, like, okay, am I not good enough? Am I not sexy enough? Is there something that's wrong? Is he cheating? And so, and that frame of mind is really important, because then and again, one of the key drivers for her to change from sexless relationship, or at least to change the sexless relationship, is for her to feel a bit of sexual competition. And sexual competition is a key driver in terms of attraction, because again, if she knows that she's got you, she's got no interest in continuously chasing after you. But if she feels like, again, I'm not saying go and start getting girlfriends, but if she feels that she's got no real hold and handle over you, that causes her to want to do such. And that is why it's so powerful when you sexually disqualify yourself and say, you know what, yes, obviously you want to have sex, yes, you want to do all of that, but in order for us to have sex, these are the standards that I expect you to deliver. So for example, her taking off her clothes is not enough of a seduction tool. She has to bring a little bit more than that. So my wife, she knows that in order for us to have sex, it's not just enough for her to say, oh, just come to bed and then let's have sex. Or she has to actually work for it. In as much as I would want her to come towards me, kiss me, do stuff in order to build up the anticipation and attraction towards her. So again, this is why when I disqualify, I'm disqualifying her you can swap disqualify as in raising her standards. So for example, if she's going to do anything from a seduction perspective, she has to bring her A game. I'm not going to be happy with anything less than the A game. So that when you do so, it really raises the value of what you guys are doing in terms from a sexual standpoint. And when she does bring her A game, she's going to have so much excitement, so much of an orgasm as well, so much of a fulfilling feeling that she's done so, and she was going to want to come back from it, because again, it's that type of scenario where if you work hard for something, the achieving something when you've worked hard for it, you get a bigger high. You know, it's like the running analogy that I always use, that, you know, initially maybe you might find it difficult to run, but as soon as you finish the race, you're so happy that you've done, or at least run the marathon, for example, and you got this euphoric feeling, even though there was pain involved to doing so, and you needed endurance, you needed all these other things in order to get there. But you find that there's so much more that you get from it after the event, because you've invested so much into it. So therefore, it's the same thing within a sexless relationship, or at least when you're now having sex within a relationship, by you raising her standards and her having to operate at a higher standard in terms of her seducing you, or within the interactions of sex, it causes her to feel a sense of satisfaction, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of wanting to get that feeling again where she can connect with you that way. So thank you very much. Hopefully that makes absolute sense. I was rushing because I'm waiting for my daughter to come up from netball. So I was trying to make this episode as quick as possible. So I'll listen back to it, and hopefully it all makes sense. If you got any questions, you can go to our Instagram, Thriving_Tribesmen, and you can ask any questions around this, and you can expand a little bit more on this if you need to. But disqualifying yourself sexually is got a lot of power when it comes to sexual interactions. So thank you very much, guys. Hopefully you have a good time, have a good evening, and I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.